You are now tuned in to Power Podcasts, the Empower Hour. Peace and blessings, beautiful souls. I am Brandi L. Bates, author of Moonshine for the Soul, The Art of Grind, and many other books. I'll be your host for tonight. You can find me on Twitter at Soledad Francis and on Instagram at Brandi is Winning. Most of these podcasts can be found archived on YouTube, hashtag Power Podcasts, but please listen to them while they still have all of their spirit and vitality by subscribing to us on iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud, and or brandybates.podomatic.com.
I go to my favorite bookstore and I buy the Meditations of Marcus Aurelius and I read it again. So anyway, first point is really don't lose the sparkle in your eye, which really means reaccess your inner heroism and rebuild that relationship, not with your ego self, which is your insecure, wounded, fearful self, but rebuild that relationship with your highest self, which is that inner warrior and that primal hero and that voice of wisdom that knows where you're meant to be, what you're meant to do, and how big you're meant to play. Second idea I want to offer to you is develop mighty mission clarity. So the majority, and this is not a judgment, it's a reporting, the majority are busy being busy and they're addicted to devices and addicted to alcohol and addicted to busyness and addicted to gambling or addicted to shopping or addicted to worrying. I mean, in many ways it's become a society of addicts, and what's happened is we develop addictions because we escape from pain. See, potential unexpressed, the potential you were born into, if you're not expressing it, if you're not living it, if you're not releasing and showing your primal glory every single day, then at a subconscious level you're developing, anger and sadness and guilt and shame over your self-betrayal against your genius. And rather than processing through that, and again at the Titan Summit this year, I'm going to teach a tool called the AFRA tool, which my elite clients are finding has revolutionized their lives.
Look beyond the world in front of you. There is an ancient proverb that says, know thyself and you shall know the universe and the gods. Life will bring you pain all by itself. Your responsibility is to create joy. Because I believe what we all want at the heart of when people say they want to make more money, they want a bigger bag, they want to be in a specific type of relationship, they want a certain type of lifestyle or career or etc. What they're really saying is, what we really, really want is joy, peace, and freedom. Joy, peace, and freedom. The clearer the picture, your vision, the vision for your life, the vision for your career, the vision for your health, your mind, your children, your family, your future, the quicker and easier the gateway can happen. Never measure your progress using someone else's ruler. Never measure your progress. In other words, don't ever compare yourself or your journey or your situation or your life or anything to anyone else, because you don't know what they've had to sacrifice. You don't know their starting line may have been a different starting line for you. We all have custom built adversity, I believe. Your adversity, your trial, your test is customized and tailor-made to suit you and your specific strengths and weaknesses and your specific taste, your charisma, your attitude, what you're built for. Everybody isn't built for everything. Everybody isn't meant to do everything. Everybody isn't meant to carry a whole team on their back. Everybody isn't meant to carry a whole city on their back. You follow me? Only we humans You think about all the species in this world, on this planet. Humans are the only ones who worry about the future, who regret the past, and who blame ourselves for the present. And I think that's powerful. What is the impact you want to have on the world? What is the impact you want to have on the world? So essentially, like, before entering into anything, ask yourself, like, how do you want to be remembered? What type of legacy do you want to leave? How do you want people to remember you? Like, what do you want to build? What did you come here to fix? What did you come here to birth? What did you come here to build? And if it's not involving that, like, does it really matter in the grand scheme of your particular existence? William James said our normal waking consciousness, rational consciousness, as we call it, is but one special type of consciousness. While all about it, all around it, apart from it, by the filmiest of screens, there lies potential forms of consciousness entirely different. That is to say that on the grand stage of life, the grand spectrum of what we see and what we can experience and what we can use, what we can feel and taste and sink our teeth into, right? Very small. Very small. There's more potential. It's more shit that you, in other words, there's more shit for you to learn. There's more for you to learn than what you already know. There's more to this world, more to this life, more to your very soul than what you see and know. And in order to tap in to other possibilities, other realms, other experiences, you have to kind of knock on the door and knock against what is. Did you know that certain colors can influence your creativity, can influence your vitality, your capacity for love, for joy, for tranquility, for happiness? Colors. There's a reason why certain logos and certain brands and certain companies have specific colors in their logos. In the beginning was the logos, right? W.B. Yeats said, "The world is full of magic things patiently waiting for your senses to grow sharp." Like, we still have a lot of shit we need to learn. Because the older you get, the more you see shit that just does not make sense. It does not fit into the realm of what you thought was possible or real, right? My mother used to say, God works in mysterious ways. Like, that's real. Like, there are mysteries. And you, the problem is, I can promise you, you haven't been using the right bait for what it is you want. And how do I know? Because we all make this mistake. Like any man knows, you can't holler at different women with the same, with the same tap dance routine, right? Every woman requires a different way to approach her. Like, you don't wear the same suit or the same outfit to various types of interviews. You got to know what you're dealing with, and you got to come correct and use the right bait and use the right outfit, the right mindset for different type of situations. But everything beautiful is fleeting. And so what that means is, let your dominant intent be to feel good, which means to be playful, to have fun, to laugh often, to look for reasons to appreciate and practice the art of appreciation. And as you practice it, what happens is the world, the universe all around you, who has been watching you practice, God, the ancestors will infuse you with and give you constant opportunities to express it, so that your life just gets better and better and better. Because I don't know about you. I woke up and decided one day, I'm not going to allow 2020 to be a shitty year for me anymore. I'm not going to allow what the government says, or what the headlines say, or what's going on with the economy, or what's going on with the interest rates, or who's in office, or who hates who, or I don't give a fuck. None of that has anything to do with me and my reality. We racking up them wins, baby. That's what we doing. We racking up them wins. So run up the wins. Every day holds purpose. How you think and feel creates your state of being. Because emotions are the product of past experiences. Emotions are the products of past experiences. And so, for instance, astrotheology. I've been ramping up my study on this here lately, but astrotheology, the basis for the foundation of all religions on earth, it has to do with the worship of the heavens. And in all the ancient world, the most frightening, scary thing was always darkness. The ancestors feared the nighttime, because you have to understand, it was the pitch black unknown. And when you really think about that, they didn't have electricity, and they didn't have, solar panels and flashlights and digital, batteries. And so even if they lit a fire drew the nocturnal predators who hunt at night and that feed in the dark of night, right? So consequently, when the sun rose every morning, it was like the savior of all humankind, right? The morning light. And so this is about facing your own darkness. Lessons in Truth is about facing your own darkness. It'll be one of the most powerful, courageous, bravest things you could ever do. God's Son. Back to astrotheology real quick. God's Son, the light of the world, right? The sun, sunshine. The sun doesn't belong to the Egyptians or the Babylonians or the Romans, right? Or the Carthaginians or the Chinese or the Buddha or Muhammad, or right? It belongs to God. No one has ownership and trademark over the sun, right? So the Son of God, or the morning star, was always like the risen Savior. So that's where we get that concept and where we get that archetype, where it began and had its genesis in the very beginning. And so they speak of this in the Bible. They speak of this in the Quran, in the book of Genesis, in the Bible. Genesis, or the genes of Isis. Follow me. Isis, or Generation Isis. They talk about this. And then in the end of that same book, they talk about repent. In the book of Revelation, repent, for the end is near. So loosely translated, what that means is repent or change. Change for the age of Uranus is near. I promise I'm going somewhere. It's the reason I'm parked here for a second. Uranus, where all my sun gazers, all my astrologers, Uranus is the ruler of Aquarius, right? So change, because the age of Aquarius is here. 2020 indeed is the beginning of sudden, radical, rebellious change. It's the beginning of the end of patriarchy and the beginning of the end of the subjugation of women, of the feminine. In fact, it's the beginning of the revelation of the divine feminine. And I've mentioned this book before, Chalice and the Blade, speaks on this deep text, the Chalice and the Blade. But the old world order is crashing. We see the great retail apocalypse, right? When people say the end of the world, understand there's never going to be the end of the world. This planet will outlive each and every one of us. It was here before we got here. It will be here long after we're gone. But when you take your last breath, for you, that is the end of the world. When your head gets cold and they get ready to put you 6 feet deep or cremate your body, that is the end of the world for you. But what the ancestors meant when they talked about, for the age of Aquarius is here, the end of an era, the end of a dispensation, meaning the energy of Uranus is near. The energy of Uranus is rebellion. This is a time of tough choices, especially with regards to race, gender, wealth, and the economy. We're seeing upheaval in the business world. We're seeing several different powerful families fighting for survival. So even if you're in denial about the pandemic, you're gonna always have people who don't believe that fat meat is greasy, and you don't believe shit because it doesn't affect you. But the reality is, the contracting of the economy globally and ravaged industries is undeniable. Period. Everything connected is affected, and we're all connected. So if you take care of the minutes, the years will take care of themselves. You got to make this minute perfect, and by making this minute perfect, you make this hour perfect. By making this hour perfect, you make this day perfect. By making your day perfect, you make your weeks perfect. You follow me? So forth and so on. When we communicate, not only are we talking using body language and hand gestures, but we're reading what is encoded in each other's electromagnetic energy, right? Energetic communication is always happening. And so the electromagnetic signals generated by the heart, actually have the capacity to affect others around us. Did you know a mother's brain waves, for instance, can become in sync with her baby's heartbeat? Did you know your emotion is your vibration? So how you feel is an indication of your vibration at any given time. And so that's why it's important to pay attention to how you feel. Really tune in and check in with yourself. Sometimes you'll get around certain people and immediately your energy feels deflated, depleted. You get around some people, you get excited, you feel energized. I've walked into certain buildings, certain corporate offices or companies or stores, and immediately felt just like a dark cloud over me, a darkness. Everything has electromagnetic signals communicating with your heart. So the out picturing of our lives is a replica of the in picturing of our lives. There is no circumstance that can keep us down. We have spiritual ancestors in high places. It's a remarkable fact that the people who've gone the very deepest into the mind, the sages and saints of every religious tradition, you name it, the Dogon, ancient, all the way up to Hare Krishna, and right, but they all say essentially the same thing. Your fundamental nature is pure. It's conscious, peaceful, radiant, loving, and wise. When you're born, a newborn infant is pure. And that nature is joined in mysterious ways with the ultimate underpinnings of reality. And so see, we're altering the Earth's magnetic fields all the time. All the time. By taking just a few extra seconds to stay with a positive experience. Does it feel good? How do you feel? Just tap in when you feel good. Check in. And take note of the environment, the people. Even the comfort in a single breath. When you take a deep breath, when you take your first breath when you open your eyes in the morning. If you have to go sit in your car, if you have to go sit in a bathtub and just meditate and close your eyes and just relax, you'll help turn a passing mental state into lasting neural structural change. And so essentially what I'm saying is this. Neurons that fire together, wire together. Mental states become neural traits. Mental states become neural traits. Day after day, your mind is building your brain. This is what scientists call experience-dependent neuroplasticity. The ancestors knew of the powers of the heart. They knew about it. They knew about it. These days, we put all our power and all our stock in the brain, in the mind, in the rational, in the cerebral, in the logical. But the human heart, did you know the human heart contains over 40,000 sensory neurons, and the same as those found in the brain? Did you know? And so through these neurons, the heart and brain are constantly having an ongoing dialogue. The heart sends more biological information to the brain than the brain sends to the heart. The heart sends more information to the brain than it receives. Cognitive things, biases, ideas that can be manipulated, although they are based in a science we have yet to tap into. When you speak about intuition, no research can understand it. Research can't understand a hunch. How people say they felt some shit before it happened, or they saw something in their dream. Research can't understand that because it's tapping into a science we've yet to really grasp, right? We can't begin to understand a mother's intuition, or how you can feel things happening, to a loved one, your brother or your sister at the same time, synchronicity or hunches. The fetal heart, for instance, a baby's heart, an infant, before they're even, one of the first things when you first get pregnant, and all my ladies who've been pregnant before, all my mothers, you already know, when you're pregnant and you go to one of your first exams and they do the sonogram or whatnot, the first thing they're going to let you listen to is the baby's heartbeat, because the fetal heart starts beating before the brain stem and nervous system is even developed. Okay. And so the heart, and the solar plexus in general contain neural cells similar to those found in the brain. So our brain receives many of its instructions on what to do actually from the heart. Okay? Your brain and your heart are always communicating with each other. And even most people don't realize most of the information is down in your gut. In your gut, in your colon, in your stomach. That's why they say listen to your gut reaction. That's why your food is information. There's information encoded in the food. And so when you eat it, and that goes to your brain. And then when you get around certain people, or you see certain things, you see certain colors, you smell certain scents, you can listen to a song and it tells your brain, remember when we heard this when you were 6 years old. And it'll take you straight back to your childhood. See, this is science. We're not ready to fuck with this kind of science. But I'm telling you, you want to manifest some shit, this is the science you want to be dealing with. Studies even show that the heart is able to think and feel and have emotions all on its own without you even. That's why you can't control who you fall in love with. You ever been really just head over heels in love and you don't know why, and it's just something you can't control. So what is your heart telling you these days? Take heart. The heart wants what it wants for reasons we will never fully be able to comprehend. The heart is a sensory organ, and it acts as a sophisticated information encoding and processing center that enables you to learn, and it remembers, and it makes independent functional decisions all by itself. So get back to the things that brought your heart the most joy when you were a kid. Get back to the shit that gets you open. Like, I don't know about you, but me and my muse gets it in. There needs to be intimacy between you and your inspiration. I'm gonna get real graphic for a minute. Guys, get back to what gets you hard. Ladies, get back to what gets you wet, right? What fires you up? What are you passionate about? You so passionate about it, it gets your nipples hard. That's the shit you need to get back to. Not all this shit that don't matter. Not all this shit that's lukewarm. It doesn't stir anything in you. Because if it doesn't stir anything within you, you won't stick with it. What are you afraid of losing when nothing in the world actually belongs to you? Nothing. You come here with nothing, and you're going to leave with nothing. You can't take your Tesla with you. You can't take your red bottoms with you. You can't take your house, that brand new 5,000 square foot on a full basement. You can't take it with you. You can't take your cash with you. You can't take your baseball collection with you. You can't take your yacht with you, your boat. Shit, even if you have nothing. Only thing you can take with you are your experiences, your stories, your impact. That's what'll be left. So what are you afraid of losing? One thing I'll tell anybody. Whatever I lose, I can get back 10 times. I don't care what it is. Because if I got it once, I can get it again. Aristotle said, the heart is the perfection of the whole organism. Therefore, the principles of the power of perception and the soul's ability to nourish itself must lie in the heart. So let me put you up on game. This is real life. Okay? This is real life. Be careful what you wish for. Not only will you often always receive what you wish for, but sometimes it won't come the way you fully fleshed it out. So for instance, you had a lot of people a couple years ago saying, yeah, girl, I want to work from home. I want to work from home like you. I want to be able to, I don't want to be able to go in the office. I'm tired of this shit. That would be lit. Working at home in my pajamas. I could eat cereal while I'm doing my work. And then bam, COVID-19, you now work from home permanently. But you didn't factor in that it would be during a quarantine, lockdown, during a global pandemic, or that you would also be homeschool teaching and having a stomach being around your loved ones 24/7. And so I know people, I know folks who go to work to get away. Like that is your getaway. I know women who they use their time to go to work. That's your time away from the kids. That's your time to clear your mind, your commute. That's your meditation. You listening to your music. You trapping and you selling drugs when you listening to music on your drive into work, right? On your drive home, you're thinking about the day. You can unwind and you're on the open road and you're breathing, and that's gone, baby. That's gone. And being up under anybody, I don't care how much you love them. I love my kids. I know you love your parents, you love your folks, but I don't care who it is. If you're under them for 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, will drive even the strongest of us cray cray. right? So stop being nice with your opposition. Stop being kind with your adversary, with your enemy, whatever form that takes for you. Your adversary may be addiction. For some of us, your adversary is a need to be perfect, a people pleasing, perfectionist. We all have different enemies. Some of you, your adversary, your largest opposition is who you are today and who you were yesterday. Getting better than that, being more than that, being more expansive than you were last year, right? Dr. Barbara Sizemore said, and I love me some Dr. Barbara Sizemore. She said, your enemy is teaching his kids, win if you can, lose if you must, but always cheat. I'll repeat that again for you. Win if you can, lose if you must, but always cheat. And the whole time, you're teaching your children, we shall overcome. Love your enemy. Hold hands with your enemy. So see, the game is rigged from the gate. We're not all playing by the same rules. We're not all playing by the same rules. And we're not playing on a balanced field. The field is not level. Borrow some new thoughts when the going gets tough. Get new ideas. Get new ideas. Get around new people. Get around people who operate at iconic. Anybody who's operating at the top of their game, whether in sports, in business, I don't care what industry, I don't care what arena, they have mentors, they have coaches. There would be no Michael Jordan without Phil Jackson. I don't even think Kobe could have reached his heights without Phil Jackson, right? Everyone won't have your vision because everyone can't see what you see, right? Be conscious of the energy you put out and be conscious of the energy you connect with. So you can't get your time back. That's why I don't fool around with everybody. I don't have time to sit on the phone and jaw jab and bump gums with just about anybody, especially if you're not talking about shit. I'm not going to sit in a room with you or sit at a restaurant or anywhere for a prolonged period of time with people who are not making moves and talking about shit, right? Why be an average person? All the great achievements of history, like, it just makes zero sense to me to just decide to be whack, just to decide to be weak. It baffles me. All the great achievements have been made by strong individuals, men and women who refused to consult statistics or to listen to those who could prove convincingly that, what they wanted to do, and in fact ultimately did do, was completely impossible. Everybody that has done something great, people told them, oh, you can't do that. You can't beat the 4-minute mile, or you can't build 3 successful multi-million-dollar producing businesses at the same time. You can't be a mother, a single mother, and a whole boss out in these streets. 7 figures, 8 figures, 9. You can't be black and make 9 figures. You got to be in the Illuminati. All this bullshit. Whole time is people doing it. The fact that we're still fighting for progress with people who still want to operate and move like Neanderthals is proof enough that these are like we're living in the last days. We still have primal forces, very animalistic in nature, and we all have them ingrained in us. The way we evolved millions of years ago served a very definite purpose for our survival as a species. We're not built to survive in this technological wilderness that we've found ourselves in. We still have that lizard brain, those animal parts of our nature. And that's why when you see human beings in a group setting, they start to take on that mindset of like a swarm of wasps, right? We're basically emotional, irrational beings. We are illogical, irrational, emotional creatures. All of us. Our emotions govern us. I don't care how educated you are. I don't care if you have more degrees than a thermometer. I don't care how you were raised. I don't care what schools you've attended. We feel something before we ever have an idea or think. We're the most brilliant social creatures. But to become greater, we have to overcome some of those primitive driving forces. What do I mean? We're built to constantly compare ourselves to others. It began in our childhood, consistently comparing ourselves to others in rank and status. Those of us who had brothers or sisters, you were always compared to your brothers or sisters, right? Social media exacerbates this human inclination and human nature. And that's a problem. That's problematic because never before in history were we always on, where you always had to be on, 40 years ago, you didn't need to get fresh every day because you weren't sticking a camera in your face or hopping on live or hopping on a Zoom or, you feel me? A FaceTime. So you didn't always have to have your face beat and your makeup and your lashes and your brows beat, right? But our emotions are contagious. We're not autonomous androids. We're deeply affected by the emotions in a group. And there's an evolutionary purpose for that. So we're so immersed in our smartphones that we've stopped studying people. That's problematic. Because human beings, we are the preeminent social animal on the planet. Our survival on the planet depends on how well we relate to other people. It just does. How you're paid, how you're compensated is connected to your value and how much value you bring to other people. And we understand how well we relate to people, how well we understand people, how well we get people, how well we get along with people on a certain level decides your fate. How do we know this? Here's the crazy thing of what I don't understand. People who are technically brilliant on paper, right? Hire the wrong people every day, make terrible hires. Some of us take terrible jobs we're not suited for, either out of desperation. You need the cash, you need the money, you just need work or whatever. You take a job that you're just not built for, you don't have the stomach for, you don't have the back for. We marry the wrong people every day, all day. That's why marriage has a 50% failure rate. We stay involved in toxic situations that ruin our lives. For some people totally in their lives. Suicide. Like, what the hell is that? How are intelligent, autonomous, wonderful people, how is it that there's so much suicide and just so much calamity? Again, from accomplished, intelligent, well-mannered, well-meaning, rich people. It always baffles me when we find out that, like, a celebrity, rich, famous celebrity, takes their own life. It always baffles me because in my mind I'm like, what's going on inside that brought them to this place? Like, what happened? Where did they go wrong? You had everything. You had the money. You had the power. You have the fame. What happened along the way that you felt you needed to end your life? We marry the absolute wrong person for us. But think about it. Slaves created wealth for their owners for over 246 years. Chattel slavery, bondage. We understand the cosmos. We understand trigonometry, sine, cosine, calculus, mysteries of the deep. I know people who can just lecture for hours on end about the mysteries of the deep. But we cannot understand ourselves on a fundamental level. We don't understand ourselves. We don't know ourselves. We don't understand our children. We don't understand each other or basic human nature. We do not understand our own heart. These are lessons in truth. Your primary skill in life is understanding human nature, because it's baked into all social constructs and all social institutions. How tribal we can be, the power of sexuality, symbolism, intention, right? We have patterns that we cannot break. Some of it comes from our DNA, from our early attachments, from our genetics, things we can't control, things we've inherited from our parents. You know, it's so crazy how genetics works, how genetics will skip generations, and you'll have addictions you don't even understand where it's coming from, but you have that addiction because your grandfather had that addiction, right? You're a mystery to yourself. You have patterns of behavior you will never be able to understand. The origin of wisdom is to know thyself. Examine yourself every day. Each day requires deep introspection. Every day. Fuck all this other shit. Study yourself. Like, try to understand your proclivities and why you do things and what triggers you and why does it trigger you, right? Recognize how your bias is built from your childhood. Things you heard when you were a kid. Oh, you know, black people are this, white people are that. Oh, women are stupid. Women are emotional. Things you heard as a child, right? Built in from your parents, their education level, their level of open-mindedness shaped you in so many ways. Your upbringing, your privilege. And I'm not just talking about white privilege. There's American privilege. Being born into a certain society in a certain year, in a certain day and age, with the technologies and comfort that comes with that. Where you were born, right? Religion, education, or lack thereof. All of that created your bias and your ideas and your outlook and your worldview. Are you getting swept up in viral emotion? Right? Do you really care about the presidential election, or is it that they've put it in front of you on every street corner, on every screen, and said this is important, and so now it's important to you? Did you care? Would you care if you didn't see it everywhere 24/7? 95% of your beliefs are not your own. They were indoctrinated into you. The age of Uranus is here, baby. Get right, because it's here. The age of change is here. The energy is here. The rebellious energy is here. Your parents' boogeyman doesn't have to be your boogeyman. Milton Erickson said, it's really amazing what people can do, only they don't know what they can do. That's the problem. You don't even realize what you can't do. You don't even realize all of the possibility that lives within you. Take a moment to think about things from your significant other's perspective. If you have a significant other, right? Think about the shit they're saying to you. Because a lot of times the people who are closest to us, they see things that in us that we don't see in ourselves. Observe the subtext behind someone's words. Observe their body language and the pattern of their behavior. One's appreciation and understanding of the normal or the usual is a requirement for any understanding of the abnormal or the unusual. You can become a superior observer. You can tap into your superpowers by having the ability to pick up fear in someone's eye. I can see fear in a man's eyes. I know when a woman is afraid. You can pick up or be attuned into the nonverbal communication that people are constantly emitting. because it comes out non-verbally. Like, I'm not paying attention to shit anyone says. 9 out of 10, I'm watching your body language. I'm looking at your eyes. I'm looking at, are you fidgeting? You know, are you bumping your leg up and down? Are you playing with your hair? Are you playing with your clothes? I'm feeling your vibes, right? Don't be so hyper focused on people's words that you become aloof to the other world of vibes, electromagnetic signals, attitude, because it's a whole universe. It's a whole language. And you're always in the process of rebuilding yourself, and so is everyone else. That's why it's not fair to put a label on somebody and be like, oh, you know, he's a narcissist, or she's a liar, or he's a quitter, or he's a loser, or because we're always changing. We're always changing. The body, your bones, the cells are constantly rebuilding themselves. We're constantly growing and changing and degenerating, and constantly. And so confronting death, like it is the largest battle you will ever fight. Your attitude will determine what you get. A hostile person will tend to get hostile situations constantly. And they'll blame everybody else. That's the crazy thing. We all know messy, toxic people. They will blame everybody else. When every room they enter, they bring bullshit wherever they go. And so starting today, rebuild yourself. Rebuild your body. Start going swimming, rock climbing, hiking, running. Even if you have to just commit to a 30-minute walk every day, do that. Get outside of yourself. Use new mechanisms to reset and to reboot each day. What do I mean by new mechanisms? Try Qigong. Try emptying the mind. If you've never done it before, let today be the first day you really take 40 minutes of dark, quiet, calm meditation and see what that does for you. Just see if you could sit there in a lotus position, or just lay there for 40 minutes and empty your mind. No devices. You don't need to write anything down. Just be at one with yourself. Prayer. Every day. Prayer. Write the vision. Write your affirmations. Create a war room where you go to pray each day and unburden yourself of your ego and fears. What we ingest transforms our bodies. What we think transforms our minds. What we feel transforms our emotions. What we act on transforms our soul. Whatever the task that your soul has agreed to, all of the experiences of your life serve to awaken within you the memory of that contract and to prepare you to fulfill it. There's a Latin phrase that says amor fati. Amor fati. Love of fate. It's a Latin phrase, and it's loosely translated as love of one's fate. And it's used to describe an attitude in which one sees everything that happens in one's life, including suffering, including loss, losing the jobs and the breakup, all that bullshit. It's good. Or at the very least, it's necessary. Accept and love people for who they are, where they are. Stop trying to change people. Stop trying to say, well, if he'll do this, then I can fuck with him. Or if she'll do that and get her mind right or whatever, then no. Accept them where they are. They bummy, accept them bummy. If they broke, if they got a bad attitude, if they're childish, accept them as is, without trying to change them and without trying to filter them. Because it's nobody's job to filter anybody else. Because you got your own shit that you need to filter. Truth be told. Amor fati. Love of fate. The welcoming of all life's experiences as good. People say, well, things are the way they are. Things are the way they're meant to be. Because if they were meant to be different, they'd be different. You went through what you went through because that's what you needed to go through to get you to where you are and to get you to where you're going to be. All the ways you identify yourself were beyond your control. Your race, you can't control that. You didn't control who you were born to, what city you were born to, what schools you went to, whether you were born rich or poor, your race, your gender, some would say even your sexuality. Most of the ways that you self-identify, you didn't have a say in how you became who you are. We want a utopia. We want people to be different, right? But life is what it is. Your reality is what it is. Whatever you want can come to you wherever you are. Location doesn't have to mean anything. Vibration means everything. Our fear of death. Again, it's the greatest influence in our behavior throughout history. So know thyself, and you'll know the universe and all the gods. And I'm going to leave you with this. Every flower, before it produces fruit, right when it produces fruit, every flower, when it produces fruit, the petals naturally fall away. I don't care if it's a cherry blossom tree. I don't care if whatever kind of tree it is. When the fruit is produced, the petals of the flowers naturally fall away. We're in a time of fall. We can learn a lot from trees. What do you need to let fall away? Let it fall away. Thank you so much for listening.